Meanwhile, 5 Brigade had arrived from Britain, 2,000 men from the Scots and Welsh Guards and the Gurkhas. They were to take other mountain positions surrounding Port Stanley. The men of 3 Brigade had already slogged to the mountains round Stanley and fought bitter battles there. Now the plan was for 5 Brigade to attack from the south, using Fitzroy as its base. The assault ship Intrepid would first take the Scots Guards there. Halfway, the ship's captain decided it was too dangerous to go on and ordered the Guards to complete the journey in small assault boats. Ewan Southby Taylor, the landing craft commander, had serious doubts.
I knew we had an advance ahead of us, probably an 8-hour journey without charts. And it's not the good thing to say as a junior, or as a Marine major, to turn to the forwarding captain of a capital ship in his own bridge and said, "I'm sorry, sir, but I think the whole thing stinks." And he said, "I don't really think you should speak to me like that," and quite rightly. And I said, "Well, one thing, if this doesn't work, I want you to remember those are my last words to you."
We were launched in assault boats in the middle of the night to complete the journey into Bluff Cove. As we did so, the weather got worse and worse, the waves got higher, and the wind got stronger. There was lashings of water all over the place.
Without warning, the 4 landing craft came under fire. Southby Taylor's worst fears had been realized.
Suddenly we saw a warship approach us. It started lobbing illuminating shells over us. We hadn't a clue whether it was friend or foe. Eventually we discovered that this was a naval ship from the task force. It didn't know that we were going to be there. We didn't know it was going to be there. And I guess that's what you call the fog of war.
At dawn, as the Guards' assault boats closed in on Fitzroy, an Argentine observation post some miles away on Mount Harriet spotted them. They feared a new British landing had begun.
It seemed to me that because of the movement on the ground, they were disembarking troops and supplies. So I immediately notified Port Stanley that a landing was taking place.
The Scots Guards went ashore after 8 weary hours at sea. British commanders decided it would be safer to send the Welsh Guards waiting at San Carlos in a bigger landing ship, Sir Galahad. But there was no way of communicating this between San Carlos and Fitzroy. No one in Fitzroy knew about this plan.
And at dawn, personally woke me up and said, "Ewan, I think you could believe this, but Galahad is now at anchor alongside us." And I rushed up, and there she was, full of half the Welsh Guards.
Anchored at Fitzroy Cove with Sir Galahad was her sister ship, Sir Tristram, which had sailed round packed with ammunition. The two were prime targets for enemy aircraft.
I saw 2 vessels from Pleasant Bay. I requested planes to try and stop the landing.
Southby Taylor quickly climbed aboard Sir Galahad and urged senior officers from the Guards to get their men ashore.
And I said, "Well, look, my advice as the task force landing craft squadron commander, you must get off." And he wasn't interested, and he saw that I was a major. And he said, "No, I don't take orders from Royal Majors." I said, "Oh, for God's sakes, and my advice to you is you must get off."
But it was too late. Skyhawk jets, led by Brigadier Reuben Zini, were closing in.
We were flying very low. Second Lieutenant Gomez, the youngest officer in the group, sighted one of the ship's masts, but not the hull, because it was hidden by the hill. The result was an excellent attack, where we caught both English ships by surprise.
Both ships were hit. On board Sir Galahad, it was mayhem.
I watched the 2 ships being bombed, and I felt a rage I'd never felt before in my life, ever. These were our own men, and of course, to my mind, it had been totally avoidable.
Sir Galahad's ammunition blew up. The Welsh guards were engulfed by the inferno.